Humidity is basically fertilizer for mold to grow.
So, Scott, so tell me about this project then. What's going on there? I saw you running around in the background. Was that you?
That was me, yes. Yeah, it was a customer in Grand Blanc, and their son had immune deficiency issues. They had just bought in the house, and they didn't want any carpet down in the basement. We did some mold tests, and there were higher mold counts of what I would like to call organic mold, which are penicillin, cladosporium, and aspergillus. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to clean the air out for the customer's son. So we started in the basement. This is actually a 2,800 square foot basement. What you're seeing is the main area, the living area. And what I did was I just did a quick motion of the fogging process. And basically what that entails is I wanted to show how thick the fog gets and what the fog is doing. What we're doing is we're flooding the air. The fog main components are industrial strength hydrogen peroxide and vinegar. And what that does is a starch and mold cell is made up of a starch and sugar. What we're doing is we're eating around the mold cell itself so it collapses in on itself. We are doing is eradicating any mold from the air and in the drywall itself. The particles are 0.07 micrometers in width and length. So that does get into the drywall through the paint. It does not go through the drywall, but what we're doing is we make the living ecosystem friendly and healthy for the person living there.
Is this room the basement?
That's the first floor. That is the main bedroom. The background is the bathroom, and the foreground is the bedroom itself. That
Um,
is the basement. Yep.
so if there's mold, especially given basements in Michigan and in Grand Blanc, the mold is most likely to be behind the drywall.
No, they also did some testing, drilling through the drywall, which generally, if you don't have a flood or any type of water intrusion that would get behind the drywall, there generally is no reason to worry about mold behind a wall. This specific basement did not have a flood, but they did not have dehumidifiers down there, so the humidity was high. Humidity is basically fertilizer for mold to grow. So it started incubating in the air as the basement became more humid. When I took the test, the humidity was about 75%, which is pretty high for a basement. That exacerbated the mold to grow. What a dehumidifier does is it takes the moisture out of the air. Generally, though, yes, the warmer a basement, the more humid it is. If you don't have anything in there to take the moisture out of the air, it will stay there.
So you're more likely to have mold in the basement then. Why would you need to do more than just the basement?
The upstairs, it had levels higher than normal. It was done more on a precautionary level because the child had immune deficiency issues and they
Right.
wanted a zero count on the mold tests.
So this was a whole house job. That mist,
Dry fog.
dry fog, that looks like really intense. Does it kind of like leave a residue on things? Because it looks like it would.
It's an EPA approved product and it breaks down after 40 minutes to microscopic water and air. There is no residue whatsoever. That's the beauty of our process, is that we don't need anyone to remove items within their house with this process. This gets into furniture, gets into the walls, and it kills everything on surfaces and everything in the air.
So doesn't it make like clothes smell or something?
There is a slight smell of vinegar which dissipates. What we do after we do with the remediation is we open the windows just to get some fresh air. Everything dissipates over the course of an hour. So you can enter the house after 45 minutes after remediation.
Oh, so that vinegar smell, if you're doing it in a room where people are living and there's a couch or a bed or something, that vinegar smell is going to disappear that quickly within an hour?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So next day, people aren't going to notice anything at all then?
No, not at all.
Oh, that's very unobtrusive. Huh.
That's one of the selling points of this system.
So what would you do if, say, for example, a house like this, a basement had had a leak and the mold had got into the walls and got behind the drywall? What would you do in that circumstance?
You would have to do a physical tear out. Generally, if you suspect that you have a mold issue behind the wall, you have to do a tear out. You have to tear out the drywall and expose everything. I do have someone that I can recommend to do tear outs. They would do the tear out and I would do the dry fog application.
Tearing out is the easy bit. It's putting it back afterwards that I imagine is.
Right.
So the person you recommend, they'd give them a quote to tear it out, fix all the drywall.
Yeah.
What are the locations, the Grand Bank office? What's the service area?
Generally, we go all the way over to Fenton, down to Holly. If you do a cross between Grand Blanc and then stretch it out over to the Fenton area in Genesee County, that would be our spread ratio.
Should you find that area is particularly prone to mold, or is all of Michigan pretty much consistent? How does that play out?
I would say that every house individually and how it's maintained and kept is the variant. The weather is an issue, but it's all in what the house, the ecosystem itself is. Mold, there's not a big variation in mold in the mid part of Michigan because the weather's all fairly the same. It's all in regards to if you have a flood, if your basement's humid, if you have an attic and you have bathroom that is vented right into the attic. Those are all reasons why mold grows.
This looks like a fairly new house.
Yes.
So does it make a difference in terms of the probability of mold? Do older houses tend to have more of a problem than newer houses?
Actually, newer houses are more prone to mold because they're more airtight than older houses.
Wow, that's not intuitive.
Houses before a ballpark number here, 76, tend to breathe better. Now, their basements aren't as well made and tend to crack and leak a little more in older houses, but older houses themselves have a better ratio of air exchange than modern houses. Modern houses are very tight and do not breathe.